Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN.
Certainly hasn't been the case since he's been back. And when you consider the greatness that's being put on display by some of the other players around the league, James Harden, Greek Freak, Paul George, Kevin Durant, of course. I mean, it's disrespectful to those guys. It just act like LeBron James could do whatever he wants, when he wants, how he wants, and he'll still look better than them. He does not always look better than them. And so if he's not always looking better than them, and there's a question as to whether or not he's the best in the world, and he clearly isn't a champion anymore because that would belong to the Golden State Warriors, how is he the king? How? I'm not trying to sound like my man Shiggy on Instagram, but I mean, it's a legitimate question. Yo, king, LeBron James is an LA Laker. Yo, king, really? The greatest player in the world has signed with the LA Lakers. They don't look like the Lakers. Do y'all understand the magnitude of what I'm trying to break down to y'all? Now, we know basketball wasn't the only reason he arrived in LA. He's got off-the-court aspirations that are incredibly valid. And we need to show LeBron in that regard the respect that he has earned and deserves. He's probably a billionaire. He's got money out the wazoo. He's a 3-time champion, a 4-time league MVP. We recognize the fact that he's been to 9 NBA finals and he's went to 8 straight. But it was in the East. And oh, by the way, he still has 6 finals losses on his resume. That's why the Eastern Conference matters. Because religiously, it's been the weaker conference than the West. And then you transition to the West. And you're talking to me about going from Cleveland to L.A. and you go from being in the finals to not making the playoffs with a better roster than you had in Cleveland? Something's wrong with this picture. Something's wrong. And when you're the leader and you're calling out guys, I'm not saying he's wrong because I don't think he's wrong. But something's got to work. You can't call them in out and they look progressively worse. That's not going to help anybody. And if LeBron James doesn't get anybody to come with him this summer and the Pelicans trade Anthony Davis to somebody other than him, then we're talking about LeBron James not having any help until 2 years from now. How's he going to look then? How's he going to look then? I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd see LeBron James go down and miss 18 games. But it happened. I mean, we're not paying attention to this to the level that it requires. It is entirely possible that LeBron James will be the first megastar in the history of the Lakers franchise to not have delivered an NBA championship. The only other person who compared was Elgin Baylor, who retired at age 37 midway through the 1971-72 season. That's what we have to remember here. Elgin Baylor, 1971-72. That was the year that the Lakers won the NBA Finals When they went 69-13, that particular year, the great Elgin Baylor played in 9 games and retired midway through the season. Other than him, no major star in the history of the Lakers organization, from George Mikan to Wilt Chamberlain to Jerry West to Magic Johnson to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy to Shaq and Kobe, no major star in the history of the Lakers franchise failed to deliver a chip to the franchise. We going to ignore that? I'm not. My man Champ, you're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, bro.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good. Talk to me.
Just the Lakers, I think we in panic mode a little bit too early. They're 3 games back, and I still believe they will make the playoffs. And I've been on record several times and saying I don't believe LeBron is the best player, but he's talented enough to get this team to the playoffs. I think will be a failure to the Lakers when they do get in the playoffs. They should make the Western Conference Finals. I think they're the second best, most talented team in the Western Conference behind Golden State. And I think everybody's on the panic button as of right now today.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why aren't you, considering what you're seeing from everybody else around him, and the coaching of Luke Walton, which has been suspect over recent weeks, why aren't you? Hello?
I'm listening. I'm not. I thought you finished now. I'm sorry.
No. I'm saying I'm asking you a question. Why aren't you in panic mode?
Well, because this is LeBron. It's a toxic environment. I knew this was going to happen. I went off the record with you, and I told you I expected an injury sometime midway through the season.
You know what you did say. You know what you did say that. You did say that. Yeah. You told me that this summer. I got to give you credit for that. You absolutely did, champ. Go ahead.
So for me personally, the biggest story to me should be, will LeBron get traded from the Los Angeles Lakers before they win another NBA championship?
You can't trade LeBron James.
It's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen. Go ahead.
I believe they will not get anyone this season. I think they're going to obviously lose in the playoffs.
Okay.
No one's going to come. Kawhi Leonard is going to go somewhere else. I think Kevin Durant, if he leaves Golden State, I've been on record as of last year that he would go to the New York Knicks, him with Kyrie Irving and maybe Jimmy Butler. And I think what's going to end up happening in the Lakers front office and brass, they're going to quietly look at some teams after the end of next season, and they're going to trade LeBron James.
Well, let me say this to you. I don't believe LeBron James will ever be traded without his permission. I don't think he will ever be traded by Magic Johnson without his permission. That's A. B, I will also say this. Why are you convinced that Kevin Durant, and don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with you, but why are you convinced that Kevin Durant will choose New York, particularly when you just heard his tirade a few weeks ago about the media not letting him just play basketball, et cetera, et cetera? Why are you so convinced that he'll want to go into that bubble that is the New York market?
Well, the stars could align with Jay-Z and all those guys, but you remember I had an anonymous source tell me that he was going to Golden State, and everybody laughed. I thought this source was real valid. New York brings back everything, what I always stated what Kevin Durant was doing. He hijacked LeBron's fake run, as I called it. You win 3 championships in Golden State, you get the 3 finals MVPs. What better the tip of the iceberg is this? Go to New York. Michael Jordan didn't go to New York. Kobe didn't go to New York. LeBron was scared to go to New York. Kevin Durant wins an NBA championship next year in New York City. We can start having an argument. 4 straight MVPs in the finals, 4 straight championships, win a championship in New York. The argument then going to be, is Kevin Durant resume better than Michael Jeffrey Jordan?
Well, let me ask you this question. Why you keep mentioning New York like it's the Knicks? How come it ain't Brooklyn?
I never said the Knicks.
Okay.
It's the Knicks only.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Go ahead. Finish your point.
And the last one is with this whole Greek freak thing. He's doing the LeBron all over again. He's dominating the Eastern Conference regular season, putting up the gaudy numbers inside the rim. But when the game matters the most, you won't be able to find him. And he's going to they're going to trying to give him the MVP this year because he's putting up gaudy numbers? Embiid putting up gaudy numbers. He's not even the best player in the East.
I think the Greek Freak will definitely get his numbers. But I'm talking about as the game wanes in clutch moments, that absence of a perimeter shot will foil him. That is my prediction against the Boston Celtics. And to a lesser degree, Toronto. I think he's going to have trouble come postseason time when it really, really counts because he doesn't have that perimeter shot. Champ, I got to bounce, man. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. The one and only Champ, my brother Champ, right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, if you missed my opening segment, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith podcast. Brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in 5 minutes. Capital One. Hey! What's in your wallet? Back with your calls in a minute before my man Ryan Clark comes on to start off hour number 2. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Learn what affects your credit scores and what you